In 2007, at a time when his career was still steady and the name John Goodman was synonymous with America's laughter, he suddenly collapsed from a heart attack that nearly took his life, not on a film set, not in a dramatic scene, but in real life, quietly, without lights, without applause. The man who had made millions of viewers laugh in Roseanne was suddenly confronted with a stark truth. His body had endured too many years of alcohol, stress, and the loneliness hidden behind the image of the nation's dad. John Goodman was always seen as a massive force of energy, big, loud, humorous, warm. Yet behind that laughter lay a childhood marked by the absence of a father, years of struggling to find a foothold in New York, and a long battle with alcoholism that began when he was still very young. He possessed natural talent, but success did not arrive overnight. He built a remarkable career, but paid for it with his health and with nights spent asking himself who he really was once the curtain fell. From the down-to-earth Dan Connor to complex characters in film, from comedy to drama, John Goodman did not simply portray ordinary men. He lived alongside them. So how did a man who once stood on the brink of collapse become one of Hollywood's most enduring actors? This is not just a story about fame. It is the journey of a man who had to learn how to save himself before he could continue making the world smile. John Goodman was born on June 20th, 1952, in Afton, Missouri, a suburban town in the St. Louis area where life moved at a slow and steady pace. Not Hollywood, not major cultural centers, his childhood began in a very ordinary setting. A small house, quiet streets, a nearby school, and a family that had to manage on its own after its pillar was lost far too early. His father was a postal worker, a stable job that repeated itself day after day with each round of mail delivery. And he died of a heart attack when Goodman was about 2 years old. After that, the house operated to a different rhythm. The dining table lacked a familiar seat. Stories about his father existed through retelling, not through the child's direct memory. His mother, Virginia, worked multiple jobs to raise the children. She waited tables, worked in retail, and took in laundry at home. Her days began early and ended late. Inside the house, everything was arranged around her work schedule: meals, study hours, chores. The 3 children grew up within that repeated rhythm: work, return home, then begin again. The family had 3 siblings. His older brother was 14 years older than Goodman, old enough to help and to be present when needed. His younger sister was born a few months after their father's death. Goodman's early years unfolded amid quiet changes in the household: fewer adults, more work, and everything having to be redistributed. Goodman's childhood was not loud. He once described himself as a withdrawn child. His large build made him noticeable at school and also made him an easy target for teasing. Those incidents repeated with each school year across playgrounds and classroom hallways. He grew accustomed to observing before entering a group, accustomed to staying silent when there was no need to speak. During that time, the Boy Scouts became a steady part of his routine. There were clear schedules, ranks, badges to earn. There were leaders, rules, tasks that had to be completed properly. Scoutmasters, coaches, and later drama teachers appeared as people who gave specific instructions: how to stand, how to speak, how to finish your part, and then step away. Outside of school hours, Goodman spent much of his time at home. He listened to the radio, read comic books, followed radio programs. Sound and printed pages filled the long afternoons. The world of superheroes, humor comics, and the voices on the airwaves became a familiar part of that space. When he entered high school at Afton High School, he joined the football team. He played offensive guard and defensive tackle, positions that demanded a large frame and direct physical contact. On the field, his body was placed exactly where it was needed: hold the line, block the path, protect teammates. He wore the team jersey, stepped onto the field alongside others, and did his part. After graduating in 1970, Goodman took a gap year before entering college. He received a football scholarship to Southwest Missouri State University in Springfield. But before he could officially compete, his ACL was torn. The season ended before it even began. After the injury, he transferred into the university's theater program. The decision took place in a context where sports was no longer an option. He attended classes, stood on stage, rehearsed lines, practiced movement. The rehearsals were repeated again and again until the dialogue and gestures became familiar. In college, he studied alongside many students who would later move on to Hollywood. But in the classroom, everything still unfolded at a simple pace, reading scripts, standing on wooden floors, refining each small detail. Those years passed in steady schedules and rehearsals without explosive moments, only work done from one session to the next. In 1975, John Goodman left school and headed toward New York as a natural reflex of someone who had chosen acting as a profession. The city appeared with its dense, unforgiving rhythm, and he stepped into it with everything he had: a theater degree, very little performance experience, and the determination to carve out a place for himself. He lived near the theater district, in small, inexpensive rooms where many young performers clung to the craft through short-term jobs. During the day, he searched for work. In the afternoon, he auditioned. In the evening, he showed up at the theater. Everything operated continuously, without long pauses. He took commercial jobs, voiceover work, and any additional employment that could sustain his living and keep him within the acting environment. And the stage became the place where he learned to maintain rhythm. Small productions, sparse audiences, lights that were not dazzling, but each time he stepped out, he put all his energy into keeping the character alive until the end of the scene. The light shone directly, the auditorium remained silent, and his body had to adjust itself to stand firm before it all. The repetition of rehearsals, performances, lines, and movements gradually formed professional reflexes. And commercials and voiceover brought a different working pace. He entered the studio, delivered the lines precisely, completed his task, and left. Precision, punctuality, and the ability to adapt to various types of work gradually helped him understand how the industry functioned. New York pulled him into an almost seamless chain of days. Later, when recalling New York, he said simply, "Keep trying, keep moving forward, so you won't have to look back and wonder what you missed." The city did not give him immediate answers, but each working day pushed him a little further. The stage helped him feel his body and performance rhythm. The studio taught him how to control his voice. Auditions helped him realize he could transform to fit many different characters. Small and scattered screen appearances began to emerge. And he stepped onto film sets, observed how cameras were positioned, how scenes were constructed, how actors adjusted their energy in front of the lens. Moving from stage to film, he learned restraint. The eyes, the breath, the pauses, each small movement preserved clearly within the frame. In 1982, he appeared in Eddie Macon's Run, his first significant film appearance in his professional journey. The set offered a different experience. Longer waiting, multiple takes, everything recorded to exist after the scene ended. He entered that space as a natural extension of the process that had begun on stage and in the studio. After the film, work continued to expand at its own pace. He took on more supporting roles in television and film, interspersed with returns to the stage and commercial work. Casting sessions gradually became familiar with his face and his way of working. The characters he portrayed were often close to everyday life. Working-class men, so ordinary men, roles that required steadiness rather than display. The city gradually became an environment he belonged to. He understood how to find opportunities, how to keep himself within the system's momentum, how each appearance, even brief, added another layer to the journey. Stage, commercials, television, and film intertwined, forming a clearer trajectory over time, and he continued forward within that trajectory through his own steady rhythm of work. In the mid-1980s, John Goodman began appearing on screen with noticeably greater frequency. And he did not enter film with a leading role, but through a sequence of supporting characters, each offering a little space, a small trace. The camera gradually grew accustomed to his face, and he grew accustomed to stepping into the frame as part of the narrative rhythm. In 1984, he appeared in Revenge of the Nerds. The role was not central, but it was enough for him to learn how to exist within a commercial film with a fast pace and clear structure. And he stood among a young cast in a story shaped by college life and popular culture, where each character had to be present clearly enough for audiences to recognize them within limited screen time. His appearance was not about display, but about a sense of being in the right place. Enter the scene, hold the rhythm, then step away as the story shifts. 2 years later, he appeared in True Stories, 1986, directed by David Barn. The atmosphere of the film was entirely different, slower, stranger, more observational in its portrayal of American society and culture through everyday details. In that space, Goodman worked with longer silences, restrained performances, and characters that felt more real than the familiar archetypes of commercial cinema. And the set became a place where he experimented with keeping a character natural, without forcing emotion, without exaggerating movement. Parallel to film, the stage remained a place he returned to frequently. In 1985, he stepped onto Broadway with Big River, the musical based on the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. The Broadway space carried a completely different rhythm from the smaller stages he had known before. A large auditorium, tightly controlled sound, meticulous staging, and each performance functioning as a precise system. In Big River, Goodman took on a supporting role, yet maintained a strong presence on stage. He moved, sang, and interacted within a musical structure that demanded high discipline. Long rehearsals, adjustments to every step, every lyric, every emotional beat brought him back to the foundation formed in his early years. Repetition, refinement, and maintaining rhythm until everything became instinct. The role earned him a Drama Desk nomination for Outstanding Featured Actor in a Musical. It was not a loud breakthrough, but recognition from the theater world, where everything is evaluated based on sustained work. This acknowledgement also led to new encounters. Directors, producers, people who began noticing the way he inhabited a role, the way he worked without needing to command all the light. The rhythm between stage and film formed a familiar cycle. Goodman moved between the two spaces, adjusting his energy to suit each environment. On stage, the body had to expand so the auditorium could feel it. In front of the camera, everything contracted, refined, contained within the eyes and breath. This constant transition gradually shaped a distinctive flexibility. He could step into comedy, hold sharpness in serious scenes, then return to an everyday tone without dramatic shifts. In 1987, he entered Raising Arizona, directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. This meeting opened a professional connection that would extend for many years afterward. The working atmosphere on the film carried its own tone, humorous, offbeat, yet tightly structured. Characters were constructed like vivid puzzle pieces, and each actor held a clear position within the whole. Goodman stepped into the role of Gail Snotes, a character with strong energy, somewhat intense yet still carrying a comedic edge. Within the frame of the Coen Brothers, he did not simply perform to finish the scene, but began shaping a way of being present, creating laughter while preserving authenticity, allowing the character depth. Comedy did not detach from personality. Sharpness did not detach from circumstance. These two layers overlapped, forming an expression that was both familiar and unpredictable. The Raising Arizona set operated like a system where every detail was controlled: dialogue rhythm, camera movement, pauses. Goodman entered that system with his accustomed focus, then allowed his body and voice to adjust to the shared rhythm. He did not attempt to create a distinct mark through display, but let the character emerge through action, through gaze, through interaction with those around him. And this collaboration laid the foundation for an acting brand that gradually took shape: comedic but not light, sharp but not rigid, always grounded in everyday reality. He could make audiences laugh and then, moments later, reveal that the character carried genuine tension. The ability to shift between these states became a trait that directors began to recognize. From this point forward, Goodman's face appeared on screen with a clearer position. He was no longer just someone passing through the frame. The characters he took on gradually gained weight, distinct personality, and brought stability to a film's structure. Directors sought him out when they needed someone who could hold a scene's rhythm, preserve truth in a character, and connect emotional threads without direct explanation. In the roles of this period, one thing became increasingly evident. He did not separate comedy from life, nor seriousness from humanity. A character could be humorous, yet carry a sense of reality, could be intense, yet still reveal vulnerability. That layering was never declared as a style. It formed naturally through each role, each scene, each appearance. When he stepped away from Raising Arizona, he carried with him a new professional connection, a new way of working, and a different position in the eyes of filmmakers. And the work continued to unfold. Roles opened up, and that momentum carried him further along a cinematic path that was gradually becoming more defined. In the late 1980s, John Goodman entered a completely different working rhythm from the years before when he joined the television series Roseanne. The role of Dan Connor placed him at the center of a working-class American family story, where conflict, humor, and hurt all unfolded within a deeply familiar domestic space. The set operated under the rhythm of a multi-camera sitcom, with a live studio audience, direct lines, and immediate reactions. Goodman stepped into that structure with a feeling that was both fitting and cautious. Later, when recalling Roseanne, he described it with a single sensation: it fit, and it frightened him at the same time. Dan Connor was not a heroic archetype, but a working man, providing for his family, getting angry, laughing loudly, then returning to the familiar rhythm of daily life. Goodman built the character from small behaviors: the way he stood in the kitchen, the way he sat down after a long workday, the silence before answering. Comedy was not separated from life. Laughter traveled alongside exhaustion, responsibility, and moments of helplessness. The working rhythm stretched across seasons and years, leading him to see the set as a true working family, where each person carried their part, supported one another, and continued even as production pressure gradually increased. At the same time, film in the late 1980s and 1990s opened up a diverse chain of roles. In 1989, he appeared in Always, directed by Steven Spielberg. The working environment was entirely different from a sitcom: longer scenes, layered technical demands, and extended waiting periods between takes. Goodman adjusted his performance rhythm, holding just enough energy for the character to exist within an emotionally rich cinematic structure. On set, he stood precisely on marks taped onto the floor. Technical lights shone directly down, making the air noticeably warmer. And the camera was positioned farther away than in a multi-camera sitcom. Each scene required long preparation before action was called. There were prolonged silences while equipment was adjusted, and quiet exchanges took place between director and cinematographer. When the signal finally came, every movement had to slow by a beat compared to stage reflexes. He held his gaze longer, restrained gestures, allowing the camera to capture the rest. In 1990, arachnophobia placed him in an atmosphere blending comedy and horror. The character was built on tension, yet still carried an everyday rhythm. Goodman maintained that balance by not pushing emotions too high, allowing the character's reactions to arise from the situation rather than from an intention to provoke laughter. The year 1991 marked two projects of contrasting tones. Barton Fink, by the Coen Brothers, placed him within a psychological and surreal cinematic world, where characters existed in a state both real and distorted. Goodman worked with silences, extended glances, and restrained movement, a form of performance that required no direct explanation. In the same year, King Ralph returned him to mainstream comedy with a clearer structure and faster tempo. In 1992, The Babe placed him in roles tied to a historical sports context, demanding research and adjustment of tone to match a specific time and setting. In 1993, Matinee further expanded the range of characters he portrayed, with its story rooted in the context of cinema and American cultural memory. In 1994, The Flintstones became one of the largest-scale film projects of this period. Goodman took on the role of Fred Flintstone, a familiar animated character adapted into live action. And the work required strong physical and rhythmic adjustments, broader gestures, larger energy to match a fully constructed artificial world. The costume was designed thicker and heavier than it appeared on screen. Each movement had to be repeated multiple times until the character's speed and weight felt natural. The film grossed approximately $341.6 million worldwide, becoming a significant commercial milestone in his film career. Meanwhile, Roseanne continued to maintain its position among the most watched sitcoms on American television. The role of Dan Connor brought Goodman a series of Emmy nominations for Outstanding Lead Actor in a comedy series over multiple consecutive years. In 1993, he won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Television Series, comedy/musical for the role. The award did not change the working rhythm on set, but it confirmed the character's place within mainstream television at that time. He once said that performing comedy on television always felt both fitting and frightening. Fitting because the character was close to real life, frightening because every line, every pause received immediate audience feedback. The presence of a live audience on set meant reactions occurred instantly, with no distance for revision. The set therefore operated like a collective labor space. Arrive on time, hold the rhythm, complete your part, then repeat the next day. And between the stable rhythm of television and a succession of film projects, Goodman's face gradually became associated with a presence difficult to replace, large enough to hold the frame, restrained enough not to overwhelm the overall structure. The transition between mainstream comedy and auteur cinema did not occur as a dramatic turning point, but as a steady process of adjusting tempo according to each project. In the late 1990s, John Goodman entered The Big Lebowski, 1998, with the role of Walter Sobchak. The character existed within a clearly defined friendship structure, speaking quickly, reacting strongly, holding his ground to the end, then suddenly pausing in quiet moments. Goodman sustained Walter through precise line delivery and intentional movement, allowing the energy to emerge through behavior rather than display. In a scene at the bowling alley, Walter stands beside the table, beer in hand, his voice rising before abruptly stopping as the line ends. The camera holds a close-up for one extra beat, long enough to see his eyes shift from pushing outward to compressing inward. The silence stretches before the dialogue resumes. The scene was repeated multiple times to maintain the exact tempo required by the script. On set, the crew spent time rehearsing carefully before the official takes. The Joel and Ethan Coen script was followed closely, word for word. Dialogue, rhythm, and movement were calibrated so as not to disrupt the overall pacing. That discipline made exchanges sound spontaneous while still operating within a tight structure. When the film was released, the initial response did not create a box office explosion. Over time, Walter Sobchak appeared more frequently in quotations, rescreenings, and film discussions, and the characters' lines and reactions were repeated within viewer communities, and the film was revisited in various spaces. Goodman continued working with the Coen Brothers in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? 2000. The film's atmosphere carried historical tones and American folk music. Performance rhythms were restrained to blend into the overall structure. He entered scenes with concise movement, maintaining interaction within the established staging. At the same time, he expanded into voice acting. In 2000, The Emperor's New Groove brought him into the recording studio, where the voice became the central expressive tool. He adjusted breathing, intensity, and pauses to shape the character through sound. In 2001, Monsters, Inc. was released with him voicing Sully. The recording process took place over multiple sessions. When actors recorded together, their interaction rhythms were adjusted to maintain conversational flow. Monsters, Inc. It grossed approximately $528.8 million worldwide, according to Box Office Mojo, original release. Alongside film and animation, he appeared as a guest actor in television series. Each participation meant a short-term schedule, entering an established cast, grasping the rhythm, completing his part. His filming schedule, therefore, stretched across live-action sets, voiceover studios, and television productions. He moved from project to project. I'm adjusting body and voice according to the specific demands of each environment. In the mid-2000s, John Goodman appeared on television within tightly structured dramatic spaces. Before that, he joined The West Wing, 2003 to 2004, in the role of acting President Glenn Allen Walken. The character existed within a context of temporary transfer of power, restrained dialogue, and clear political rhythm. Goodman moved through meeting rooms, the Oval Office, and White House corridors with gait and vocal tone adjusted to the atmosphere of each scene, maintaining tense dialogue without raising intensity. Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, 2006 to 2007, placed him backstage at a live television program. The role appeared as a guest arc, tied to internal conflicts and power relationships within a production environment. He handled extended dialogue with even pacing and precise pauses, sustaining interaction among characters. In 2007, he received a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series for this role. Film continued to operate in parallel with television. Goodman participated in multiple projects, with supporting roles that carried weight within the narrative structure. His work schedule stretched between film sets and television series. Each environment demanded a different presence in terms of physical rhythm and delivery. In 2011, the artist was released with a silent film structure, placing emphasis on imagery and editing rhythm. Goodman appeared in scenes with quick tempo, relying on movement and expression in place of speech, maintaining interaction within a nostalgically styled staging. In 2012, Flight, directed by Robert Zemeckis, placed him in key scenes within a psychologically heavy story. He sustained the character through specific actions and clear tempo, entering at precise moments and exiting once the scene concluded. In the same year, Argo was released with a political historical backdrop. Goodman played a Hollywood film producer involved in a rescue plan, working within a rigorous filming rhythm, delivering concise and restrained lines to integrate into the whole. Argo grossed approximately $232.3 million worldwide, according to box office data. On set, he arrived early, read the script, held pauses according to the scene's rhythm. His schedule moved through filming sessions, recording studios, and promotional events. As one project ended, another continued. In 2013, John Goodman was honored as a Disney legend, a title reserved for artists with long-standing contributions to Disney's creative ecosystem. This recognition was directly connected to his voice roles and his sustained presence in animated projects, particularly characters that had accompanied multiple generations of audiences. That same year, he appeared in Inside Llewyn Davis by Joel and Ethan Coen, continuing a collaboration that had extended over many years. The film's setting placed its characters within the American folk music scene of the early 1960s, with a slow, detail-rich narrative rhythm. Goodman entered scenes with restrained dialogue and movement, maintaining interaction within the carefully staged structure. On Argo, a film he had participated in earlier, received the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a cast in a motion picture. The award recognized the collective coordination of the entire ensemble. Goodman was present within that lineup as the Hollywood film producer involved in the rescue plan, appearing in scenes that bridged two spaces, film production and covert operations. In the years that followed, work continued to expand in multiple directions. Projects followed one another, from film sets and voiceover studios to multi-camera television productions. Each environment required a different rhythm of presence, from line delivery and pauses to physical movement. In 2017, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. His name was embedded along Hollywood Boulevard, becoming a physical milestone for a journey that had stretched across decades. And the ceremony took place amid an ongoing filming schedule. Afterward, he returned to the projects already on his calendar. In 2018, Roseanne returned in a new version after many years off the air. Goodman resumed the role of Dan Connor on a set constructed according to the familiar format: multiple cameras, a live audience, dialogue rooted in family life. He entered the role with the working method he had developed earlier: reading the script, holding the rhythm of the scene, and interacting with co-stars according to each specific situation. The program aired for a short time before being halted following controversies related to off-screen statements by the lead actress. The narrative structure continued under the name The Connors, a spin-off series retaining most of the cast, including Goodman. The character Dan Connor continued to exist within family life on screen, with the storytelling rhythm transitioning into a new production system. The Connors operated under a television production cycle: one episode completed, the next prepared. Goodman appeared in the role of the family pillar, interacting with other characters in everyday domestic situations. The filming schedule repeated by season, interwoven with other projects already planned. Milestones of recognition: Disney legend, the SAG Award with the cast of Argo, the Hollywood Walk of Fame star, appeared amid an ongoing work schedule. His name was attached to active projects, from feature films and animation to television sets. The work continued in a familiar rhythm: receive the script, complete the scenes, move on to the next project. In 2019, a new working rhythm began when John Goodman entered HBO's The Righteous Gemstones in the role of Eli Gemstone. The character was the head of a wealthy televangelist family operating between religious authority, business interests, and internal fractures. Eli did not speak more than necessary. He held long silences, slow gazes, and restrained reactions to his children's chaos. The set operated under a multi-season structure, with each season building a clear narrative arc. Goodman appeared throughout, maintaining the rhythm of family scenes and conflict situations, adjusting vocal tone and pacing according to each context. The character moved through consecutive seasons from 2019 to 2025, maintaining a steady presence within the main cast. In parallel, the Conners continued its multi-camera television production cycle. Goodman moved between two sets with distinctly different structures. On one side, a family sitcom with a live audience, fast-paced dialogue, and collective interaction. On the other, a drama, dark comedy series with cinematic staging and long seasonal storytelling. Filming schedules overlapped, scripts were read in advance, rehearsals and tapings followed fixed calendars. He entered each environment with specific adjustments in intensity and pause, ensuring each character functioned within its own space. In 2023, he appeared in Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, as an older version of Bill Randa, within a narrative universe connected to legendary monsters. The character appeared in a storyline interwoven between present and memory, requiring focus on gaze and concise dialogue. The set was technically complex, with many scenes involving visual effects. How Goodman worked through segmented shooting schedules, maintaining character consistency across scenes not filmed in chronological order. Alongside the rhythm of sets stretching across multiple projects and years, John Goodman's private life formed along a different trajectory, separate from the spotlight yet always present beneath every professional decision. Relationships, marriage, and family did not enter as a footnote to his career, but became the space he returned to after each filming schedule, each relocation between cities and sets. There, the rhythm was slower, choices more personal, and matters beyond the script began to take a central role in how he continued forward. John Goodman's private life formed in a rhythm different from the film set. Slower, discreet, and rarely placed at the center of attention. As work carried him through multiple cities and projects, family became the place that maintained a steady tempo, not as a public image, but as a life structure sustained persistently over decades. He met Anna Beth Hartzog at a Halloween party in New Orleans in the late 1980s, while he was filming Everybody's All-American, and the meeting was not tied to a cinematic, destined moment. They talked, stayed in contact, and gradually entered each other's lives. At that time, New Orleans was a city where he worked frequently, and it later became a place of long-term attachment. The relationship developed as his career was expanding, but it was not connected to media exposure or public image. In 1989, they married. The decision came as Goodman's name was becoming widely known through television, and yet family life moved in the opposite direction, away from the spotlight. In 1990, their daughter, Molly Evangeline Goodman, was born. Molly's arrival clearly altered the structure of daily life. Filming schedules, travel, and professional choices all had to take into account the rhythm of a household with a young child. The family did not appear frequently in the press. Information mentioned publicly revolved mainly around basic milestones, where they lived, parenting choices, and how they maintained privacy. Media sources, including People, often described this as a deliberate choice, raising Molly outside the center of Hollywood, limiting public appearances, and allowing family life to exist independently from his professional image. New Orleans became their long-term base, a city far enough from Los Angeles to maintain distance from the entertainment machine, yet still connected to work. Goodman spent time there between filming schedules, and the family maintained a stable routine: school, friends, local community. Such decisions did not generate media narratives, but they formed the foundation that kept private life from being swept up in the volatility of the profession. In later conversations, So Goodman spoke about marriage and family in a direct and brief tone. It was where he returned, where there was no need to perform, and where the rhythm of life did not depend on the success or failure of a project. Annabeth did not participate directly in his acting career, but she was present in major decisions: where to live, how to raise their child, and how to maintain distance from media attention. The years that followed were not always easy. Goodman has spoken publicly about a long period of struggling with alcohol. This was not a story extracted as scandal. He himself mentioned it in many interviews, describing it directly and without embellishment. He stated that he has been sober since 2007 and has continued attending Alcoholics Anonymous as part of daily life. It was not tied to a dramatic turning point, but to a prolonged process, day by day, meeting by meeting, a habit by habit that had to be maintained. He has also spoken about depression as a state that once existed in his personal life. No private details were disclosed publicly, but he has repeatedly mentioned physical exercise as a way to manage emotions and maintain stability. Weight loss, changes in lifestyle habits, and maintaining a workout routine became part of everyday life. In conversations, Goodman often emphasized how family maintained life's rhythm during those periods. That's not through declarations, but through repeated actions. Staying home, eating dinner together, driving their child, maintaining routines. He described this as the foundation that allowed him to continue working without being swept away by professional pressure or public opinion. Molly grew up outside the center of media attention. As an adult, she entered the film industry in behind-the-camera roles, a professional choice related to cinema but not dependent on public visibility. Goodman rarely speaks at length about his daughter. When he does, it is brief, focusing on how she builds her own path. The family maintained a life that moved according to his filming schedule. There were periods in New Orleans, times in Los Angeles, and extended trips tied to projects. Yet the overall structure did not change. Work unfolded outside, while family life held its own rhythm. In recent years, certain material losses have also appeared in their lives. The family's second home in Pacific Palisades was reported to have been destroyed during the major wildfires in January 2025. The event has been mentioned in biographical summaries as a current slice of reality. Not a defining catastrophe, but part of a life that must be reorganized. Throughout his long journey, his love and marriage have not operated as a media image, but as a life structure running parallel to his profession. Film sets change, projects change, but that structure remains. A man returning home, a family maintaining a steady rhythm, and repeated habits that keep everything functioning year after year. John Goodman's legacy does not rest on a single image, but on the breadth and endurance of a professional trajectory spanning more than 5 decades. He is present in mainstream television as Dan Connor in Roseanne and The Connors, in auteur cinema through multiple collaborations with the Coen Brothers, in commercial film with the Flintstones, in animation as Sully in Monsters Incorporated, and in award-recognized works such as Argo, The Artist, and Flight. Yet the characters he portrays often share common traits: a large physical presence, a deep voice, strong energy, yet their operation always relies on concrete action and precise dialogue rhythm. From multi-camera sitcoms to tightly staged cinema, from voiceover studios to dramatic series, he adjusts his mode of presence to each environment without losing professional consistency. The series of Emmy nominations for Roseanne, the 1993 Golden Globe, the 2007 Primetime Emmy for a dramatic guest role, at the SAG Award with the cast of Argo, the Disney Legend Honor in 2013, and the Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 2017 mark official recognition points. The box office revenues of projects such as The Flintstones and Monsters, Inc. demonstrate his ability to exist in both commercial and artistic spaces. Walter Sobchak of The Big Lebowski continues to be quoted in popular culture. Sully is tied to a generation of young audiences. Dan Connor has become a familiar image of the working father on American television. The legacy, therefore, does not separate into distinct segments, but exists simultaneously across multiple audience layers. In 2025, Goodman continues to maintain a steady work schedule. The Righteous Gemstones has extended across multiple seasons from 2019 to 2025, with him as Eli Gemstone. The Connors continues to air as the continuation of the Connor family story. In 2023, he appeared in Monarch. Legacy of Monsters, as an older Bill Randa, participating in the expanded narrative structure of a large cinematic television universe. Alongside his work, he maintains a private family life with Annabeth Hartzog and their daughter Molly. And he has publicly stated that he has been sober since 2007 and continues to attend Alcoholics Anonymous as part of daily routine. He has also spoken about depression and exercise as ways to maintain balance. The family has been long connected to New Orleans, deliberately maintaining distance from media centers. Recent material losses, such as the second home in Pacific Palisades being destroyed during the January 2025 wildfires, have been recorded as part of a life that must be reorganized, and without interrupting the ongoing rhythm of work. Some actors are remembered for a single blazing moment. Goodman is remembered for reliability. He does not construct himself as a legend, nor does he attach himself to a fixed image. He simply works, steadily, seriously, and consistently. When he appears on screen, audiences believe the character exists. He does not need to stand at the center to hold the rhythm of the story. He only needs to be present at the right moment, apply the right weight, then step back once the scene has run its course. It's in an industry that constantly changes, that kind of endurance becomes a distinctive mark. Not because he set out to create it, but because he has never stepped away from the work he chose.